I never believed in ghosts or demons. I always thought strange stories about the supernatural were just people's imagination. That changed one night when I met something I wish I could forget. It happened last winter. I had been working late shifts for weeks, sleeping very little. That night, I finally came home at around midnight, exhausted. I remember thinking, finally, I can sleep in my own bed. My apartment was cold, so I wrapped myself in a blanket and fell asleep quickly. The first sign. I don't know what time it was when I woke up. The room was pitch black, but something felt wrong. I tried to roll over. I couldn't. My arms, my legs, frozen. I couldn't even lift my head. At first, I thought I was dreaming, but then my eyes adjusted to the dark. I could see my room. I could see my dresser, my curtains, even the little red light of my phone charging. I was awake, fully awake, but my body wouldn't move. That's when I heard it. A slow, dragging sound, like bare feet sliding across the floor. The presence. It was coming from the corner of my room. The corner I couldn't see clearly because of the shadows. My heart started pounding so hard I could hear it in my ears. I tried to scream, but no sound came out. The dragging sound stopped. Silence. And then, breathing. Heavy, uneven breathing. Like someone was standing there, watching me. I told myself it was just sleep paralysis. I had read about it before. The brain wakes up, but the body stays asleep. People see things that aren't there. But it felt real. Too real. It moves. My eyes darted toward the corner. That's when I saw it. A tall, thin shadow. It was bent forward, its head tilted at an unnatural angle, watching me. I couldn't make out its face, if it even had one. My chest tightened. My body screamed to move, to run, but I was frozen in place. It stepped closer. Slow. Deliberate. Every step made the floor creak. When it was halfway across the room, I noticed something even worse. Its arms were too long, reaching almost to the floor. And the fingers, thin, bony, twitching. The whisper. It stopped at the side of my bed. I could see it now in the dim light. Its face was pale, but wrong. No eyes. No mouth. Just smooth, stretched skin. Yet somehow I could hear it. A whisper, like dry leaves scraping against each other. It leaned down until its head was inches from mine. Don't move. I felt hot breath against my cheek, even though it had no mouth. My eyes burned with tears. I was certain I was going to die. The pressure. It climbed onto my bed. I felt the mattress sink under its weight. My body still wouldn't move, but I could feel it, each step, each shift, as it crawled over me. Its long, bony fingers brushed against my arm. My skin felt like ice where it touched me. It put one knee on my chest, pressing down. I could barely breathe. My heart was hammering so hard I thought it might burst. The eyes. And then, somehow, it had eyes. They opened slowly, right where there had been smooth skin. Two deep, black pits. They didn't shine or reflect any light. They just swallowed it. Looking into them was like staring into a bottomless hole. I couldn't look away. I wanted to close my eyes, but I couldn't even do that. The smile. A mouth formed. It started as a thin line, then stretched unnaturally wide until it split its face from one side to the other. Inside were teeth, long, sharp, and jagged. It leaned closer, that awful mouth twisting into something like a grin. I thought I heard my own voice screaming in my head. Wake up! Wake up! Wake up! It whispered again. I will see you tomorrow. The release. Suddenly, I could move. My arms shot up and I scrambled off the bed, slamming the light switch on. The room was empty. No shadow. No breathing. Nothing. I stood there, shaking, trying to convince myself it wasn't real. But my chest still hurt where it had pressed down. I had deep red marks on my skin, like long fingers had been there. The next night. I barely slept the next night. I kept all the lights on, TV playing, phone in my hand. But around 3 a.m., my phone screen flickered. It turned black. And in the reflection, I saw them. Those same black, endless eyes. Oh. It's been months since then. I don't sleep much anymore. I'm terrified of the dark. Every night, around 3 a.m., I hear the same slow dragging sound. Sometimes from the corner of my room, sometimes from the hallway. I know I'll see it again. And when I do, I don't think I'll wake up this time. If you've never had sleep paralysis, consider yourself lucky. Because sometimes, the thing you see isn't a dream. It's waiting for you to sleep again. I want to start by saying, I never thought anything like this could happen to me. I had read about sleep paralysis before, but I always thought it was just the brain playing tricks. After what happened, I know better. It was last summer. The days were long and hot, and I wasn't sleeping much. Between work stress and late-night phone scrolling, my body was exhausted. One night, I decided to go to bed earlier than usual. I remember it was around 11:30 p.m. The room was dimly lit by the orange glow from a street lamp outside my window. I left the window slightly open so a breeze could come in. I fell asleep quickly, but sometime in the night, I woke up. And that's when it began. The freeze. At first, I thought I was just waking up normally. My eyes opened, and I could see my ceiling faintly. But when I tried to turn over, nothing. My body wouldn't move. Not my arms. Not my legs. Not even my head. I felt panic rising. I tried to take a deep breath and shout, but my voice was stuck inside my throat. It was like my mind was awake, but my body was locked. Then, I noticed something strange. The orange streetlight glow was gone. The room looked darker, too dark. The sound. That's when I heard it. A slow, deliberate creaking sound, as if someone was walking barefoot on my wooden floor. Creak, creak. The sound was coming from near the door. I couldn't see it from where I was lying, but I could feel it. Something was there. My heart was pounding so loudly I was sure whatever it was could hear it. The footsteps grew closer, but they weren't normal. They were too slow. Each step seemed to drag. The shape. Out of the shadows, I saw a figure. It was tall, impossibly tall. Its head almost touched the ceiling. It didn't walk like a person. It swayed, like its body was too heavy for its thin legs. As it came closer, I could make out more details. The arms were long and thin, hanging far below the waist. The fingers were long too, and they never stopped moving. Twitching, curling, uncurling. But the worst part was its face. Or rather, the lack of one. It had no eyes, no nose, no mouth. Just smooth, pale skin stretched over its head. The pressure. It stopped beside my bed. I couldn't move, but I could feel the heat, or maybe the cold, coming from it. My body was screaming to run, but my muscles were still frozen. Then, slowly it leaned forward. Its head tilted until the smooth face was inches from mine. I thought I heard a sound, like faint breathing, but then I realized it wasn't breathing at all. It was sniffing me. I don't know how I knew, but I felt it, like it was smelling my fear. Then it climbed onto the bed. The mattress sank under its weight. My chest felt like someone had dropped a heavy stone on it. I couldn't breathe properly. It straddled me, both long arms on either side of my head, fingers twitching in the dark. The whisper without a mouth. Even though it had no mouth, I heard it speak. The voice was dry, raspy, like leaves being crushed. I've been waiting a long time. I wanted to close my eyes. I wanted to block it out, but I couldn't. I could only stare at the smooth face hovering above me. Then, slowly, a crack began to form where its mouth should be. The crack split wider and wider until it stretched unnaturally, revealing a dark hole filled with jagged teeth, too many to count. The eyes that weren't there. As the mouth opened, 2 holes appeared above it. At first, I thought they were just shadows, but then I realized they were eyes. Black, empty. And yet, somehow, they were looking directly into mine. I felt something inside me sink, like those eyes were pulling me in. The voice came again. Don't fight it. Just let me in. The cold. Suddenly, I felt a freezing sensation spreading from my chest to the rest of my body. My vision blurred, and the room seemed to fade away. I thought I was dying. Just as everything was turning black, I forced myself to focus on my breathing. In my head, I was screaming, "Wake up! Wake up! Wake up!" And then, I could move. The escape. I shot upright in bed, gasping for air. The room was exactly as it had been before I fell asleep. The orange streetlight glow, the windows slightly open. There was no sign of the thing. But my chest hurt. I looked down and saw faint red marks, like fingers had been pressed hard into my skin. The second time. I didn't sleep for the rest of that night. But 2 nights later, it happened again. This time, it didn't walk in from the door. I woke up frozen, and it was already on the bed, crouched over me. Its face was even closer this time. I could see tiny cracks in the smooth skin, like something underneath was trying to push out. The whisper came again. "You can't stop me." When I woke up from that one, there were no marks. But I knew it wasn't a dream. No. It's been months since then. I sleep with the lights on, but I still wake up frozen sometimes. And when I do, I can feel it. Sometimes it's standing in the corner. Sometimes it's right beside me. It doesn't always climb onto the bed, but I know it's waiting. I don't know what will happen if I can't wake up next time. But I'm starting to think, maybe it's not sleep paralysis at all. Maybe it's something real. And maybe it's just getting closer. I had heard of sleep paralysis before, but I never thought it would happen to me. People online described it as being awake but unable to move, sometimes seeing shadowy figures. I used to think it was just the brain misfiring. Now, I'm not so sure. It happened last year in October. I live alone in a small 1-bedroom apartment. The building is old, the kind where the floors creak if you even breathe too hard. My bedroom faces the street, so I usually keep the curtains drawn at night. That day, I came home late from work. It had been raining all evening, and the streets outside were wet and empty. I was tired, so tired that I skipped dinner and went straight to bed around 11 p.m. I fell asleep almost instantly. The first time. I woke up suddenly in the middle of the night. No noise, no nightmare, just wide awake. My eyes opened, and I stared at the dark ceiling. I tried to roll over. I couldn't. At first, I thought maybe I was too tired, but then I realized nothing on my body would move. Not my fingers, not my legs, not even my head. I could blink. I could breathe. But that was it. That's when I saw him. The man in the corner. In the far corner of my room, right next to my closet, stood a man. He was tall, unnaturally thin, wearing what looked like a long black coat. His head was tilted slightly, and his face was hidden in shadow. I told myself it wasn't real. It was just my imagination. I had read that sleep paralysis could cause hallucinations. But then, he moved. Slowly, deliberately. He stepped out of the shadows, and I saw his face, or what was left of it. His skin was pale, stretched tight over his skull. His eyes, completely black. No whites, no pupils. And his mouth, it was stitched shut. The approach. He began walking toward me. His steps were silent, but every time his foot touched the floor, the wood seemed to groan. My heart was racing. I was screaming inside my head, but my mouth wouldn't open. My chest felt heavy, like something was holding me down. The man reached the side of my bed and bent over. His face hovered inches from mine. I could hear his breathing, slow and uneven, like each breath hurt. He leaned closer until I could smell him. It was a rotten, earthy smell, like damp soil mixed with something dead. The whisper without words. Even though his mouth was stitched shut, I heard his voice. Not yet. It wasn't a sound. It was like the words were pushed straight into my mind. My body froze harder, if that's even possible. Then he straightened up, turned slowly, and walked back to the corner. The moment he disappeared into the shadows, I could move again, trying to forget. I sat up gasping, my body covered in sweat. My room was empty. My phone said it was 3:14 a.m. I stayed awake until morning with every light on. The next day at work, I told myself it was just sleep paralysis. It wasn't real. But I couldn't shake the smell from my memory. The second night, I didn't want to go to bed, but exhaustion won. That night, I woke up again, frozen. My body locked in place, my eyes wide open. And he was there. But this time, he wasn't in the corner. He was at the foot of my bed, standing perfectly still, head tilted. His stitched mouth stretched like it was smiling, even though the stitches pulled his skin tight. My chest began to ache. My breathing turned shallow. He took one step forward, and the lights in my room flickered, even though I knew I hadn't turned them on before sleeping. The climb. He climbed onto my bed without a sound. The mattress dipped under his weight, though he felt heavier than he looked. He crawled up until his face hovered right above mine again. This time his voice, if you can call it that, was clearer. "You're almost ready." His long, thin hand reached toward my face. The fingers were ice cold, but they never touched me. They just hovered, trembling, like he was holding himself back. And then, he was gone. Just gone. I could move again. The mark. When I woke up fully, my room was normal. Except for one thing. On my cheek, where his hand had almost touched, there was a faint red mark shaped like a fingerprint. It faded within an hour. The third time. By now, I was terrified to sleep. I tried staying awake for days, drinking coffee and energy drinks. But on the fourth night, my body gave up. I woke up, paralyzed again. But this time, I couldn't see him anywhere. The room was silent. Then I heard the sound. A wet, tearing sound, like stitches breaking. And from the darkness near my closet, a mouth slowly opened. I couldn't see his face, but I saw the teeth. Too many teeth, sharp and jagged, glinting faintly. The voice came again. "It's time." The breath. I felt something cold pour into my mouth, into my lungs. I couldn't breathe. My vision went black around the edges. The last thing I remember before waking up was the feeling of something sitting on my chest, and the sound of him breathing inside my ear. It's been months. I've moved to a different apartment, different neighborhood, but I still wake up paralyzed sometimes. And when I do, I can see him. Not in the corner this time. Not at the foot of the bed. But crouched beside me, face inches from mine. Just waiting. And I know, one night soon, I won't wake up at all.